Even though I love Dr. Loomis and I love Laurie Strode, the truth is the most beloved character in the Halloween franchise, no question, is Michael Myers. Why do we love this guy with a mask who goes around killing people? I don't know, but he stood the test of time, first coming into our homes in 1978 and killing hundreds of people since then. But which is the best depiction, the best portrayal, the best version of Michael Myers? Today, we're going to talk about it. Hello, everyone. Vic here with another video talking about the Halloween franchise. Today, we're ranking all the Michael Myers from worst to best with everything in between, all 13 variations, all 13 portrayals. Again, let me preface just saying this is my opinion. Your opinions, please give them in the comments. Let me know who your favorite Michael is and who you think the worst Michael is. Being a huge fan of the series, I think we can all agree that our opinions in the movies are somewhat colored by our opinions of Michael. If there's a terrible Michael Myers, it can really bring the movie down. And if there's a great Michael, it can really enhance the movie, even when it's a piece of trash. And there's definitely examples of that we're going to go through for sure. So, my number 13, which fits the list as the worst Michael Myers, in my opinion? Well, I'm going to say Michael Myers from Halloween Ends. Now, look, I know this is controversial because Halloween Ends is very polarizing. It has its fans, it has its haters. I know that people have really mixed views on Halloween Ends, and this is not an indictment on the movie, even though I don't actually like the movie either. But in terms of Michael himself, I just want to preface by saying that in the entire new trilogy, James Jude Courtney does a wonderful portrayal of Michael Myers. He's an amazing Michael Myers. This is no slight on the actor. What he's given to work with here, he does everything he can with. But I just did not like the depiction of Michael Myers. It's in some ways the weakest version of Michael, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but we have Michael opening the movie mostly in the sewer. We have him being a shell of his former self, even though we are told that, as he kills, he gets stronger after killing an entire mob in Halloween Kills. Here he is at the weakest point he's ever been at. Didn't make sense story-wise. He's in the sewer. He has this mind transfer relationship with Corey, which leads to Corey helping Michael get back on his feet. Which, hey, listen, I'm on board with this story, but man, Michael getting beat up in the sewer by Corey is probably number one most embarrassing moment for Michael Myers in his entire life. Forget about the series. Yes, it's worse than the whole Busta Rhymes debacle, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah, Michael in this movie, just for me, did not do it, and it's mostly because of the writing. Okay, so next on the list, number 12, I'm going to go with Michael Myers from Halloween H2O. For most of the movie, he doesn't seem intimidating at all. If they took the mask off Michael in this movie and revealed not the paramedic, but just some random teen being a copycat, it wouldn't surprise me. This doesn't feel like Michael from the first movie. I don't know what's going on with his hair. I don't know what's going on with the mask. Now, the mask, of course, they just couldn't get it right here. So you have different masks all throughout the movie. You have a horrible CGI scene with the mask that should have been completely edited out the movie. I don't know, H2O, even though when he's hanging off the thing coming down from the ceiling, that's an extremely high depiction of strength. Overall, it just seems like a very weak version of Michael. It seems like the reason that he didn't attack the LL Cool J security guard at the midpoint of the movie, which there's really no reason not to take out LL Cool J. The reason he didn't do it is, it seems like, because he thought LL Cool J would have kicked the crap out of him. And looking at them, I'm pretty sure LL Cool J would have kicked the crap out of him. I'm just not a huge fan of Michael and H2O. Now, okay, next on the list. Well, if we're going to put H2O and Michael Myers there, then not far behind has to be Halloween Resurrection Michael Myers. Now, you have Michael at the very beginning having the crazy hair again, and then I guess looking like he stopped at the bathroom to comb his hair back. I don't know. This Michael Myers, they do a better job with the mask than they did with H2O, so I do like the mask more. But in terms of his portrayal, you know, it's similar to Halloween Ends, unfortunately. You can't get away from the whole Busta Rhymes thing. You can't get away from Busta Rhymes tapping Michael on the head, telling him to get the hell out of his way, and Michael turning and walking away and never actually coming back to kill Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes playing Freddy, one-ups Michael throughout the entire movie, kicks the crap out of him at the end of the movie. I don't know. This doesn't seem like the Michael that was taking out full police stations in their movies. He can't even handle Busta Rhymes one-on-one. Okay, now let's go with some controversy here, because this might give me some hate, because there's a portion of fans online, a good amount of them, that really are ride or die for the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. Now, listen, they're not my cup of tea, but I still respect them. I don't think they're terrible movies. They're just not my version of Halloween that I prefer. That said, the next on my list is Michael Myers from the original Rob Zombie's Halloween, which, listen, I guess that, to be fair, if you took the Halloween name off these movies, the Rob Zombie movies, and just made them any serial killer, some random serial killer movie, I would think it's such a badass, dominant killer. I know it's a reimagining of Michael, so it doesn't have to be like Michael. It's not supposed to be like Michael necessarily from, the OG series, but I just don't see Michael as like a huge, almost 7 feet tall, see no evil, Kane looking, Big Show looking killer. In this movie, he's too big for me. He's too strong, too big, too tall. I know that some people like that, and like I said, I appreciate Michael's aggression and brutality. This is a version of Michael that cannot be messed with. That bathroom scene, that fight with Joe Grizzly was so badass, man. But all that said, again, it's not a terrible serial killer. It's just, for me, not the Michael that I prefer. So it has to go at the bottom of the list. And again, the general portrayal of Michael Myers in the story for me brings it down a little bit. But that said, let's move on to then, well, hate to say it, but more of the same. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Michael Myers, again, this movie, more of the same, still aggressive, still a huge badass, looks even stronger than the last movie. Halloween 2 does some weird things. It's some weird things storyline wise, and some white ponies and some dream sequences. I'm not the biggest fan of Halloween 2. I'm open to the interpretation from many fans that this is actually a classic piece of artistic integrity with a lot of artistic merit, and that maybe I just don't get it. Maybe my dislike for it or indifference to it is just a general not understanding the merits of Halloween 2. I'm open to watching it again. It's been a while, giving a reinterpretation. Hey, I even came around a little bit on Halloween 5 recently, so maybe I'll come around on Halloween 2, but it's more the same. We don't have the Joe Grizzly fight from part 1, but Michael is still, again, pretty badass, and yeah, some good death scenes. I mean, the strength of Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is just the sheer brutality. Like I said, he's the most badass in terms of brutality. I don't know if there's any version of Michael that's more brutal, but again, it's kind of like, do you want ice cream with your pizza? Like that for me, brutality is not necessarily what I look for in a Michael Myers. So that's just my personal preference. But that'll be all that's gonna be said about Rob Zombie's Halloween. Let's move on. I have a whole video calling this the most underrated movie because I think it is probably the best sequel in the series, Halloween 4. But Halloween 4 has one clear screw up, and that is Michael Myers. Now, wow, okay. We talk about the idea of, can a good movie elevate Michael? Can a bad movie take down Michael? This is a case where a good movie's trying to elevate Michael, but just the costume design, the performance, everything's a little bit off with Michael in this movie. I'll get into some very specifics, and let's just talk about the mask for a second. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with the mask in Halloween 4. I understand that within the storyline, Michael breaks into a costume store. He's not going to get the same exact mask he had from the first one, but anything similar, I don't know what the hell this looks like. Uh, some kid got a mask and just tore. I don't know. I don't know how to describe how bad the mask is in Halloween 4. Why is his shoulders padded? I don't understand. Michael is, if you cast like the right size actor, Michael with just a normal walk and a good mask is intimidating. But we have a terrible mask, and we have like super hunched up shoulders, like he's, about to go to football practice as a linebacker. I don't understand that at all. Michael's portrayal, I mean, Michael is a badass in Halloween 4. There's no question. He takes out a police station. He takes out the mob. But his look is just so bad that it's hard to take him seriously. On top of that, we have pink hair Michael in one scene in the school. Again, just shows that they were not really paying attention on set when it came to Michael Myers. The details weren't there. I love Halloween 4, and I've said time and time again, if you gave Halloween 4 a proper, amazing version of Michael Myers, it may be everybody's favorite sequel. It's already my favorite sequel, but everybody, I think, would get on board the idea of like, whoa, this movie has no glaring weakness. Right now, has a huge glaring weakness, and unfortunately, that is one, Michael Myers. Okay, moving on. Well, Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty here. So, this is gonna surprise people that I put this up so high because I think a lot of people, hate this movie. I recently made a video about it, feeling that the movie is actually does have some redeemable qualities, but I'm talking about Halloween 5. Michael Myers, this movie played by Don Shank. No, I don't like the opening. I hate him flying down the river, being taken in by a hermit. The hermit stupidly nursing him back to health, only to be killed a year later. The story here was just pretty stupid in terms of Michael's, you know, resurrection, rejuvenation, whatever you want to call it. But the last time I watched this movie, I was shocked to see this Michael felt like Halloween 1 Michael. I know people usually don't put those two things together, but this Michael in Halloween 5 is calculating. He is in the shadows. He's stalking slowly. There's a couple scenes where you just see Michael in the background, and that's the Michael I love. It's not the brutality. It's the sort of the cunningness, it's the cerebralness, the cerebralness. There's no way for me to say the word cerebral, unfortunately. It's him being cerebral, and in terms of how he approaches his victims. He's comes out in the shadows. He doesn't want to bring attention to himself. He simply wants to get his victims the most quiet way possible through sheer stalking and strategizing and planning out. That is the Michael that I love, and I was surprised to see that it's here in Halloween 5. Now, controversially, with Halloween 5, we do have Michael one point having a tear come down his eye, that sort of awkward scene where Jamie asks him to remove the mask, and I know some people hate that because, Michael is supposed to be an empty void. He's supposed to be just pure evil with nothing else behind the curtain there. This is a Thorn movie. This is in the Thorn trilogy. Within this trilogy, I mean, they're going for this idea, potentially, even though it hadn't been written yet, that you can go with the possible idea that within some of these scenes, Michael is being controlled by the rage, which was put in him by the Thorn, the curse of Thorn, and then him having that tear, and also him sort of listening to Loomis as Loomis tells him he can stop the rage inside of you. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to try to give some character development to Michael. It's not beaten over the head. At least we don't have a full curse of thorn here where like, a whole cult is present and controlling him like some parts of part six. Um, but yeah, in terms of his movements, things like that, his mask. Now let's talk about the mask for a second. It does have that super long neck mask that awkwardly goes down to who knows how far his body that mask goes down to. That thing is a long. No, it's not the best mask. They parts 4 or 5, they just didn't get the mask right. But it's not as troublesome. It's not as exhausting. It's not as silly as the part 4 mask. And Don Shanks does not look like he's lining up to play for the Dallas Cowboys. So I find his overall physical presentation to be pretty good, and I find the portrayal of Michael of being back in the shadows, back in the background, slowly throughout the day stalking his victims, creepily driving the car with a different mask on, staying quiet. That's the kind of stuff that separates Michael from Jason, from just generic slashers. It's the calculating side of Michael. When you go for sheer brutality in the absence of this, sort of cunning Michael, then you lose something, in my opinion. And some movies do that, and some movies don't do it. But Halloween 5 does cunning Michael very well. So that's why it's so high on the list. Okay, let's move on. Next on the list. Well, you know, it's going to be Halloween Kills Michael. Now, Halloween Kills, one of the strengths that's pointed to always, of course, is that it's a great Michael Myers performance, a great Michael Myers movie. It's Michael painting his killer masterpiece, his killer portrait as he goes through the town of Haddonfield and kills everybody in his way, including little kids wearing Shamrock mask. That mask pissed off Michael, apparently. So, everything that's been said about this, is correct. I mean, James Jude Courtney, again, just like in Halloween Ends, a fantastic depiction of Michael. Everything from the mask, amazing. The walk, amazing. Michael's kill is amazing. Now, in terms of the portrayal of Michael, why isn't Halloween Kills at the top of the list? Well, it's because, again, I don't get the same appeal of Michael going through random houses and just killing random people. I don't think Michael's thing is body count. I don't think his thing is just kill everybody he comes across. That wasn't really present in part 1 or even part 2, to be honest. Um, So the depiction of Michael in the new trilogy is a little bit off to me. This does feel more like Jason than Michael in Halloween Kills. Him being taken out the mob, but then coming back to life and killing them all one by one, assembly line style. I don't know. It's a good portrayal of Michael in terms of just his sheer physical presence. Like I said, he looks amazing, but his actions, the Michael brutality stuff, it kind of feels more like Jason, and also kind of feels more like the Rob Zombie version of Michael Myers as well. But amazing look and amazing performance here. Okay, now getting down to the nitty gritty, the top four. This was very hard to place these four in order because I love the portrayals so much in all of them. But for number four, I'm going to go with Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, hey, listen, I can already hear people complaining because this is the what many consider to be one of the worst sequels. But check out my other video. I actually like this movie a lot. I think Halloween Curse of Michael Myers is underrated. Both the producer's cut and the theatrical version is underrated. But one thing that's properly rated that I think is slowly getting more and more respect as time goes on is Michael Myers and Halloween 6. Complete badass. This feels like when Loomis talked about Michael being evil in the first movie and all throughout the first four movies, Loomis's speeches, the fifth movie also, this version of Michael in 6 feels like everything Michael talked or everything Loomis talked about realized. Loomis's full vision of Michael, what it could be, what the evil could be at its biggest essence, seems like all the potential is realized here in Halloween 6. Michael is big, strong, doesn't give a damn about anything. This dude just is like walking through the movie, like doesn't have a care in the world except to kill and to fulfill his destiny as evil personified. Um, Now the thing about it though is even though he kills as such a badass, he also is the stalking version of Michael. He is also cunning. There's plenty of shots in Curse of Michael Myers where Michael just hanging in the background, stalking his victim. So for me, I'm getting the best of all the worlds. I'm getting a physical depiction of Michael where he does have some brutality, he does have a physical presence, but then also his actions, they're writing him as still the calculating cerebral Michael that I love so much. And then that mask is fantastic. You can make H2O so much better simply by transferring over the Part 6 mask to H2O. I've come to love the Halloween 6 mask unabashedly. Love it. Yes, the thorn stuff here for Michael. We don't want to see Michael controlled. We don't want to see him, stopped in place by rocks on the ground. But if you go with that theatrical ending, Michael completely massacres the cult of Thorn in the hospital room sequence, that massacre sequence, and then so you can say Michael's really not controlled at all. And listen, how many times do we get to see Michael run after a victim? When Michael's chasing that dude in the tunnel, I'm like, holy shit, what a scene! Curse of Michael Myers has to be ranked high in terms of Michael Myers, no question about it. Okay, our top three. Well, for number three, I'm gonna go with Halloween 2, uh, played by Dick Warlock, Michael Myers. So Halloween 2, I think, is probably everybody's favorite sequel for the most part. It's usually gonna be ranked higher than both Halloween 2018 and I think no question ranked higher than Halloween 4 by most fans. This is a continuation of Halloween 1, so it is a little bit off-putting or odd that Dick Warlock's performance is so different than Nick Castle's. This does kind of feel like a different character from the first movie, but in some ways, that's just the physical portrayal. And what I mean by that is that even though they're wearing the same mask, the mask just fits very differently on Dick Warlock's head than it did on Nick Castle's. So it almost feels like you're wearing a different mask, even though we can see it's the same mask. And then Dick Warlock really gives that robotic walk to Michael, which in some scenes I love. Some scenes I don't care for. For example, when he's chasing Laurie at the end, the robotic walk makes him walk so slow that it's almost impossible to imagine the idea of him catching anybody in a chase scene. I mean, he's walking barely half a step at a time, and Laurie's like running along. It's such a slow walk that you're like, whoa, this guy's not going to catch anybody. But on the flip side, there's something about Michael in this movie after he takes those 6 shots from Michael, it's almost like Michael himself is realizing that, "Hey, I am that dude. I am not only evil, but I can take the 6 shots and now I'm a complete badass." In part 1, he seemed a little bit more human. In this one, he does seem more robotic, but I wonder if that's just him taking 6 shots kind of re not re-solidified, but solidified in his mind like, "Whoa, I am the boogeyman." He's walking around with a confidence in this movie. He's going in that hospital like he owns the hospital. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a classic Michael Myers performance, stalking the shadows of the hospital with that weird hospital lighting that's super dark and abandoned hospital. All that said, um, yeah, I love it a lot, but it's not my top two because number two is going to Halloween 2018. James Jude Courtney. When Halloween 2018 first, when the trailer first came out, the thing that stood out was like, holy cow, that Michael Myers, that mask is freaking amazing. That look of Michael, that the size on him is proportionally right to me. It does look like Michael's been doing some push-ups over his 40 years in prison. Naturally has old man strength now, but it does feel like this is the same character from the first movie for the most part. Um, the mask, amazing. You can't say enough good things about the mask. The walk, amazing, and walks exactly like Nick Castle from the first one. Amazing. And the brutality here, I think, is pretty modest. I mean, this is Michael for the most part, the Michael we know from part one, in terms of him just being wanting to kill, but again, taking his time, be calculated. Can't stress enough. I love the cerebral version of Michael. That's here. Him hiding in the closet, waiting for the babysitter. Him just staring at Alice from across the fence. Yeah, there's some things that seem like Michael wasn't quite the same exact person. Like, for example, him going to different houses on a killing spree. That seemed a little bit Michael, a little bit kind of out in the open, but I can buy the idea that Michael's been in prison for so long that he's like a kid in a candy store when he's finally out on Halloween and has the opportunity to kill people. I understand there'll be some more killing then and some more eagerness to get that off his chest. So I understand that. Um, yeah, this is a flawless performance of Michael combined with a great mask and I mean the writing for the movie. I would say that I'm not the biggest fan of Halloween 2018 in general, but they get Michael Myers perfectly right. But of course, that means number one, predictable as it may be, it set the standard. Everything after it was just trying to reach the level of this, and that is Nick Castle playing Michael Myers in the original 1978 Halloween. The OG boogeyman. What can be said that hasn't already been said? Creepy, scary, intimidating, and very thoughtful, very strategic. Michael Myers, this entire day, able to be in the shadows, be in the car behind them, following them, avoiding Loomis, breaking into the hardware store. Everything Michael does in this movie is like pretty calculated. Being able to drive for the first time, getting in a car with no problem, looking both ways before he makes a left turn. I think Michael here is just it's everything that we like about Michael Myers is kind of established here. Other movies add some minor details, but 90% of what we like about Michael is already here in this first movie. And we have to credit Nick Castle and the brilliant lighting of Dean Cunley, the cinematographer, and then also John Carpenter's directing. Because Michael is in the shadows there. A lot of scenes with him in the background, a lot of great shots of him uh, just his silhouette crossing the street or in the walking near the bushes. So many iconic shots in this first movie. So many iconic still pictures, still images from the series all come from this movie. So not much can be said here. Amazing mask, amazing portrayal by Nick Castle. Kills people, but again, it's not Jason here. It's clearly Michael. He's just himself. He's going to take his time, play with his food, and then finally do the kill when he finally feels, he's exhausted enough of his playing time. So, okay. But anyways, that is just my list, and love to hear your thoughts on just who is the best Michael Myers. Again, there's no wrong right answer. Well, maybe if you pick Rob Zombie's Michael Myers as your favorite, maybe that is the wrong answer, but that's just my opinion. Until next time, you guys take care.